Welcome to this special series where we break down every chapter of Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, one of the most powerful productivity books ever written. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to start, this series is for you. We're going deep, chapter by chapter, with real examples and powerful takeaways to help you stop procrastinating and start moving toward your biggest goals. Let's begin with Chapter 1. Set the Table of Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. This chapter is called Set the Table, and it lays the essential foundation for personal productivity. Tracy starts with a simple truth. Clarity is the starting point of all success. Most people procrastinate not because they're lazy, but because they're unclear. They don't have specific goals. They don't know what they really want. And if you don't know what you want, it's impossible to prioritize. Setting the table means creating crystal clear clarity about your goals. Think of your goals as the map, and your actions as the car. Without the map, you drive in circles. Here are the steps Brian Tracy outlines. Decide exactly what you want. Be specific. Don't say, "I want to be successful." Say, "I want to earn $100,000 a year doing work I love." Write it down. A goal that's not written down is just a wish. Writing makes it real. It activates your mind and triggers action. Set a deadline. Deadlines create urgency. They force you to stop drifting and start moving. Make a list of everything you'll need to do. Don't keep it in your head. Brain dump your ideas, steps, and tasks. The act of listing clears mental fog. Organize. The list put the tasks in sequence. What comes first? What depends on what? Take action immediately. Start with something, no matter how small. Starting breaks resistance. Do something every day. Every single day, take at least one step toward your biggest goal. This builds momentum and rewires your habits. Brian Tracy explains that the clearer you are about what you want, the faster your mind and energy organize around achieving it. When your goals are vague, procrastination sneaks in. But when your goals are vivid, your frog becomes visible and eatable. Example: the unfocused professional who turned her life around. Sarah was in her mid-30s, juggling a full-time job, occasional side projects, and family responsibilities. She constantly felt busy, but never accomplished what mattered most. Every morning started with checking emails, reacting to others' demands, and putting out fires. She had dreams of starting her own online business, but never got around to it then. She read Eat That Frog and decided to take Chapter 1 seriously. She wrote down her clear, specific goal: launch a digital design business that replaces my full-time income in 12 months. She broke the goal down into specific action steps. Pick a niche, build a portfolio, create an offer, set up a website, and reach out to 10 potential clients. She didn't try to do it all at once. Every day, she did just one thing toward her goal. 6 months later, she signed her first client. 9 months in, she matched her day job's income. A year later, she quit the job she used to feel stuck in and built a business around work. She loved the game changer, clarity. She finally knew what she wanted, and the steps became visible. That's the power of setting the table. Chapter 1 reminds us, you can't hit a target you can't see. Productivity starts with clarity. Before you make a to-do list, before you worry about time management, you must know what you're aiming for. The 7-step formula in this chapter is your launchpad. Decide exactly what you want, write it down, set a deadline list every step, organize the step stake. Action immediately, something every day. This is how you set the table for everything else in the book. Because once your goal is clear, your frog becomes obvious. And once you know your frog, you can start eating. Chapter 2. Plan every day in advance, a powerful concept that saves time, reduces stress, and multiplies productivity. Plan every day. In advance, most people dive into their day, reacting, checking emails, jumping into messages, or handling interruptions. But Tracy teaches that the key to success is this: every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. Planning is how you direct your focus with purpose. It's how you avoid wasting energy on low-value tasks, and instead channel your effort into your most important goals. Here's how to apply it. Use a list. Start with a master list, everything you want to accomplish, a monthly list, a weekly list, And most importantly, a daily list. Write it down the night before. Before you end your workday, take 10 minutes to list out your tasks for tomorrow. This primes your subconscious and gives you direction. Work from your list. Never start a day without a clear plan. Cross off tasks as you go. It creates momentum and boosts motivation. Separate priorities from distractions. Use your daily plan to focus on high-value activities. Say no to things that don't align with your top goals. Planning doesn't guarantee everything will go perfectly, but it guarantees that you start intentionally, not reactively. And when you know your top tasks before the day begins, you're more likely to follow through. Example, the overwhelmed entrepreneur who found clarity. Mark was an online business owner, juggling too many things: client calls, marketing tasks, social media, admin work. Every day felt like a blur. He worked long hours, but felt like he was barely moving forward. After reading Chapter 2, he began planning each day the night before. He'd open a notebook and list, what are the 3 most important things I must do tomorrow to move my business forward? The next day, he ignored everything else until those 3 things were done. Within 1 month, Mark launched 2 new client offers, cut his working hours by 30%, and doubled his weekly income. He didn't work harder, he worked with a plan. The night before, list changed his entire approach to productivity. Chapter 2 reminds us, you can't control the outcome of your day if you don't first control the direction. Planning every day in advance helps you reduce decision fatigue. Stay focused on prioritical ways, wasting time on the unimportant. So tonight, before you go to bed, take 10 minutes to write out your to-do list, because when you wake up with a plan, you start with purpose, and that's how you eat your frog first thing in the morning. Chapter 3. Apply the 80-20 rule of the most powerful productivity concepts, the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. Brian Tracy explains that in almost every area of life and work, 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. This means not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks bring huge returns, others almost none. If you treat everything on your list as equal, you'll spend too much time on the wrong things. The goal is to identify the vital few tasks that generate the greatest impact, to prioritize those first. These are your frogs. Here's how to apply the 80-20 rule in real life. Review your task list daily. Look for the 20% of activities that will move the needle. Most focus there. Evaluate your goals. Which few actions contribute directly to your biggest results or income? Be willing to ignore or delay the 80% of less important things. Tracy's advice is clear. Resist the temptation to stay busy. Stay strategic instead. You might have 10 things to do, but if only 2 of them actually make a difference, those 2 deserve your best time and energy. This chapter encourages you to ask, if I could do only one thing all day long, which task would contribute the most value to my goals? Your frog is probably that task. Example, the sales manager who doubled his results managed a team of sales reps and was drowning in meetings, reports, emails, and internal tasks. His actual sales time had dropped to less than 10% of his workday. After reading this chapter, he decided to analyze his time using the 80-20 rule. He found that 20% of his daily activities, sales calls, and lead follow-ups generated 80% of his revenue, 80% of his other tasks. Internal meetings, replying to emails barely moved the needle. So he made a shift. He blocked out 2 hours every morning, just for high-value sales activities. He delegated admin work where possible. He shortened or declined low-impact meetings within 1 quarter. His personal sales doubled on his team started following his lead. The magic wasn't in doing more. It was in doing what mattered most first. The 80-20 rule teaches us there are a few tasks that matter far more than the rest. Do those first. When you plan your day, ask, what are the few actions that create the biggest results? Which 20% of my tasks deliver 80% of the outcome? Then focus your time, energy, and effort on those because when you stop trying to do everything and start focusing on what really counts, you become unstoppable. Eat that frog by eating the most valuable frog first. In Chapter 4 of Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy delivers a powerful insight. Long-term thinking improves short-term decisions. The chapter is titled Consider the Consequences, and it's about developing the habit of future-oriented thinking. The potential consequences of any task or activity are the key determinants of how important it really is. In simple terms, the more serious the consequences, positive or negative, the more important the task. This is where strategic decision-making begins. Most people make decisions based on urgency or comfort, but successful people make decisions based on impact. Tracy introduces the concept of long-term payoff. The more your actions benefit you in the long run, the more likely they are to be frogs worth eating. Here's how to apply this principle. Ask yourself, what are the possible consequences of doing or not doing this task? Use long-term thinking as a filter. Will this move bring you closer to your major goals, or is it just a distraction? Do the tasks that promise the greatest long-term rewards first. When you make decisions through the lens of future consequences, you start working on what truly matters, if it's uncomfortable today. This habit builds discipline, foresight, and ultimately, success. Example. The career changer who took the long-term leap. Lisa had a steady but unfulfilling job in corporate sales. She had always wanted to be a career coach, but was afraid of the risk, uncertainty, and time it would take. After reading Chapter 4, she asked herself, what are the long-term consequences if I keep staying where I am? The answer hit hard. Bernut Yerston, she flipped the question. What are the long-term consequences if I take consistent action toward my dream? Personal fulfillment control over her schedule. Ethy chanced to change. Lavesh began working nights on her coaching certification and building her website. It was hard at first, but with every week, the long-term rewards grew closer. 2 years later, Lisa had a thriving coaching practice. She didn't change her life overnight. She changed how she valued her actions by their consequences. Chapter 4 reminds us, the most important tasks you'll ever do are those that have the biggest impact on your future. So before you act, pause and ask, where does this lead in a year? In 5 years, what's the long-term return of this effort? Let your future guide your present, because when you focus on what matters most over time, you align your daily actions with your deepest purpose, and that's when success becomes inevitable. In Chapter 5, this chapter is titled Practice Creative Procrastination, and it's about making strategic choices on what to delay, ignore, or completely eliminate. It flips the idea of procrastination on its head. He says, procrastination is not the enemy unless you're procrastinating on the wrong things. You can't do everything, so procrastinate on things that don't matter. Most people think successful people get everything done. The truth is, they focus on the vital few and delay or delegate the trivial many? Here's how to apply creative procrastination. Identify your low-value tasks. What do you spend time on that doesn't move the needle? Decide what you can ignore. Some tasks don't deserve your time. Let them go or do them later. Be intentional with avoidance. Creative procrastination is purposeful. You choose what not to do so you can fully focus on your frogs. Tracy emphasizes that your time is limited. Saying yes to low-value tasks means saying no to high-impact work. So instead of trying to manage time, start managing priorities. Let procrastination work for you, not against you. Example. The team leader who reclaimed her focus natally was a project manager overwhelmed by emails, meetings, and small, urgent requests that flooded her day by 5 p.m. She felt exhausted, but hadn't touched her most important tasks. After reading Chapter 5, she made a simple change. She created a not now list for low-priority tasks. She blocked off her mornings for only high-impact work. She responded to emails and small tasks only twice a day in batches. The result? Her productivity doubled, her stress dropped, and she got back in control of her time. She didn't eliminate procrastination. She redirected it. Chapter 5 teaches us, you don't have time for everything, but you do have time for what matters most. So practice creative procrastination by identifying what doesn't need to happen, right? No focusing only on high-value action sledding. Go of guilt around not doing everything. Dan. Be purposeful. Because when you choose what not to do, you create space for what truly moves your life forward. That's the power of eating the right frog and skipping the rest. Chapter 6. It's called the ABCDE method. And Brian Tracy says it can increase your productivity by 25% or more starting tomorrow. CES, a simple but powerful method for prioritizing your tasks with crystal clarity. The key to success is to focus on your most valuable task and then to discipline yourself to work on it until it's complete. The ABCDE method is a prioritization technique that helps you evaluate your to-do list by importance and consequence. Let's break it down. A equals very important. Must-do tasks with serious consequences if left undone. This is your frog. Do it first. B equals important. Should-do tasks but with only mild consequences. Do these only after all the tasks are finished. C equals nice to do. Tasks that have no consequences. Social calls, casual browsing, minor admin tasks. Never do these before A or B. D equals delegate. Tasks that must be done but not necessarily by you. Free your time by assigning them. E equals eliminate. Things you shouldn't be doing at all, remove them to create more space for tasks. Here's the secret. Never do a B task when an A task is undone. Never do a C task when a B task is still pending. Apply this method every day. Write out your to-do list, assign letters, and focus only on the highest priority. Discipline and focus on your tasks builds momentum, and that's where progress lives. Example, the consultant who regained control over her schedule was a freelance consultant drowning in busy work answering emails, fixing client files, updating her website. Her days felt full, but she wasn't making real progress. After learning the ABCDE method, she started each day with a handwritten list, labeled each task, and gave herself one rule. No B tasks until the A is done. Her task was business development, reaching out to potential clients. It had always felt intimidating, so she avoided it. Once she made it her daily frog, her business grew. Within 3 months, Emily doubled her client base simply by focusing on what mattered first. The ABCDE method helped her stop being reactive and start being results-driven. Chapter 6 reminds us, every minute you spend planning can save 10 minutes in execution. Use the ABCDE method to clarify your top priority. Stop wasting time on tasks that don't matter. Build momentum by tackling what matters most. There's the daily habit. Write your task list. Label each item A through E and discipline yourself to start with a 1 and stick with it until it's complete. This is how you train yourself to eat the biggest, ugliest froggery single day. In Chapter 7, focus on key result areas. Crass. Brian Tracy introduces a core productivity principle. These are the specific responsibilities and activities that you and only you must do well for your role, business, or goals to succeed. Ability to identify and focus on your key result areas is one of the most important keys to personal productivity. Think of your life or your job as a wheel. Each spoke represents a key responsibility. If even one spoke is weak or broken, the wheel wobbles. Your job is to identify those spokes and strengthen each one deliberately. Here's how to apply this. Identify your key result areas. What are the 5 to 7 tasks that truly define success in your role or life? These are the things no one else can or should do for you. Evaluate yourself honestly. Where are you strong? Where are you weak? What's one skill that, if improved, would elevate everything? Make a plan to grow in those areas. You don't need to be perfect, just committed to improving. When you know your KRAs and focus your energy on them daily, you stop getting sidetracked by busy work and start building real momentum. Example, the marketing manager who refocused her efforts. Jasmine was a marketing manager, constantly overwhelmed with reports, emails, meetings, and small projects. Her days were full, but her big goals stayed stuck. After reading this chapter, she listed her true key result areas: strategy and campaign planning team, development and leadership performance, analysis, elder communications. Realized she was spending too much time on impact admin and not enough on her actual crass. She delegated more, reduced meetings, and blocked 3 hours each morning just for strategic work. Her campaigns performed better, her team was more engaged, and her stress dropped significantly. By focusing on what mattered most, she became more productive and more fulfilled. Chapter 7 reminds us, You can only be truly effective when you're doing the things that matter most to your role. Here's what to do. List your key result, areas rate your current performance in each, unidentify where you need to improve it. Build your daily routine around those KRAs, because success doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing the right things well. That's how you eat the frog in your role land, how you grow with confidence. In Chapter 8, The Law of Three, Brian Tracy introduces a concept that simplifies productivity and helps you focus where it counts. There are only 3 core tasks you do that account for 90% of your value to your business or organization. Tracy explains that in any role, whether you're a business owner, employee, freelancer, or homemaker, there are only 3 things you do that truly drive results. The rest is support work or distraction. Here's how to apply the law of 3. Write down everything you do in your work or life role. Make a list of all your daily and weekly tasks. Identify the 3 tasks that contribute the most to your success. Ask, if I could only do 3 things consistently, which would have the biggest impact? Dedicate most of your time to those 3. Restructure your day so that those 3 tasks become your priority. This law is liberating. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right 3 things extremely well. Example: the business coach who tripled her impact. Trickwell was a business coach juggling a dozen daily tasks: social media, emails, online courses, client calls, blogging, invoicing. She felt busy all the time, but her income had plateaued. After learning the law of 3, she sat down and asked, what are the 3 things I do that bring the most value to my clients and my income? Her answer: coaching, clients greeting, high-value content-building relationships and partnerships. She began outsourcing admin work, minimized time on social media, and protected her mornings for coaching and content creation. 3 months later, her income and client base tripled. Why? Because she focused on her zone of genius and let go of the rest. Chapter 8 reminds us, you don't need to do more. You need to do what matters most, better, and more consistently. So ask yourself, what are my top 3 high-impact tasks? How much of my day is actually spent on those? What can I eliminate or delegate to free up time for them? Apply the law of 3. Because when you focus on what matters most, you amplify your value, your productivity, and your peace of mind. How you eat your 3 biggest frogs every day. Chapter 9. Prepare thoroughly before you begin. It is all about setting yourself up for success before you even take the first step. The title says it all. One of the best ways to overcome procrastination is to have everything you need at hand before you start. Brian Tracy emphasizes that disorganization leads to delay. When you sit down to work but spend 15 minutes looking for a file, 10 minutes finding a charger, and 5 more figuring out what to do, you've already lost momentum. Preparation creates focus, and focus creates flow. Here's how to apply it. Clear your workspace. Remove clutter and distractions. A clean space equals a clean mind. Gather all tools and materials in advance. Before you start, make sure you have everything you need: physical tools, login details, reference documents, water, etc. Organize your digital environment too. Close unused tabs, silence notifications, prepare your documents, create an action-ready environment. If your setup is smooth, you're more likely to dive in without resistance. Being ready removes friction. It helps you start strong. Stay focused longer. Example: the writer who turned procrastination into productive at a gym's wanted to write a book, but kept getting distracted. Every session started with organizing notes, looking for files, refilling coffee, and checking messages. He'd burned 45 minutes before typing a word. Then he implemented Tracy's strategy the night before. He cleared his desk. He prepared his outline, notes, and writing app. He even laid out his coffee mug. Next morning, he sat down and started writing immediately. That one change, preparing thoroughly, helped him write consistently for 90 minutes a day. Within 6 months, his first draft was done. The secret wasn't discipline. It was preparation. Chapter 9 teaches us, set yourself up to succeed before you begin. Productivity doesn't begin with action. It begins with removing obstacles to action. So, before your next work session, prepare your space, gather your tools, remove distractions. Best when everything is ready, your mind relaxes and your focus sharpens. That's how you eat the frog, without delay. Chapter 10. Don't focus on the entire journey, just focus on the next step. It teaches a simple but life-changing lesson: take it one oil barrel at a time. Brian Tracy uses the metaphor of crossing a vast desert. Along the path are oil barrels placed just far enough apart to be visible. Your job: focus only on reaching the next one, not the faraway finish line. This principle is about breaking big goals into small, doable steps. Thinking too far ahead can overwhelm and paralyze you. But if you stay present and focus on your next action, you create consistent progress. Here's how to apply it. Define your big goal clearly. Know what you're working toward. Break it into smaller chunks. Divide your goal into weekly and daily tasks. Focus on the next step only. Don't worry about the full picture. Just complete today's action. Trust the process. You don't need to know every step. Just commit to moving forward one barrel at a time. This method reduces stress and builds momentum, because consistent, small steps get you farther than one perfect leap you never take. Example: the side hustler who built a business in 15-minute sprints. Carlos had a demanding full-time job but dreamed of launching his own e-commerce brand. He felt overwhelmed every time he thought about everything he had to do: sourcing products, building a website, creating ads, and more. After reading Chapter 10, he changed his approach. He focused only on the next oil barrel. One day, that was researching suppliers. The next, writing a product description. Each task was no longer than 15 to 30 minutes. A year later, Carlos was running a profitable side business, all because he stopped looking at the mountain and started walking the path. Small steps, made consistently, can move mountains. Chapter 10 reminds us the best way to eat a big frog is one bite at a time. So stop worrying about everything at once. Instead, identify the next clear step. Take action to repeat. Tomorrow you don't have to be fast. You have to be steady. Because when you focus on the oil barrel in front of you, you always know where to go next. And that's how you cross the desert one step at a time. In Chapter 11, you can get better at anything, and when you do, everything becomes easier. Brian Tracy shares a powerful truth. Your weakest key skill sets the height of your income and success. This chapter encourages us to identify and improve the specific skills that have the biggest impact on our productivity and results. Why? Because when you get better at your most important tasks, you become faster, more confident, and more valuable. And that reduces procrastination. Here's how to apply it. Identify your key skills. What abilities do you need to succeed in your career or personal goals? Make a list. Rate yourself honestly. Where are you strong? Where are you average? Which weakness is holding you back the most? Make learning a daily habit. Even 15 minutes of skill building a day can transform your performance over time. Invest in yourself. Buy books, take courses, watch tutorials, hire coaches, do what it takes to grow. The key idea is this: the better you get, the more you enjoy what you do, the more motivated you are to do it. Example: the designer who leveled up and landed premium clients. Aisha was a freelance graphic designer with decent skills, but she often undercharged and worked with low-budget clients. She procrastinated on marketing herself because deep down, she didn't feel confident. After reading this chapter, she asked herself, what skill would make the biggest difference in my confidence and income? Her answer: branding strategy. Enrolled in a course, practiced daily, and rebranded her portfolio with stronger strategy-based work. Within 3 months, she landed 2 premium clients and doubled her rates. The secret wasn't hustle. It was upgrading the one skill that changed everything. Chapter 11 reminds us, the fastest way to stop procrastinating is to become excellent at what you do. So ask yourself, what one skill would make the biggest impact on your progress? How can I start improving it today? Because the better you get, the easier it becomes to act. And that's how you eat the frog with confidence, competence, and pride. Chapter 12. Leverage your special talents shifts our focus inward, encouraging us to ask, what am I naturally good at? The title of this chapter is Leverage Your Special Talents. You are designed for success. You have unique talents and abilities that make you different from every other person who has ever lived. Brian Tracy emphasizes that success doesn't come from trying to be great at everything. It comes from leaning into your strengths. You were born with specific talents, and when you focus on them, you tap into your zone of genius. Trying to force yourself into roles or tasks that don't fit your strengths only leads to frustration, fatigue, and procrastination. But when you align your work with what you do best, motivation flows naturally. Here's how to apply it. Identify your natural strengths. What do people consistently praise you for? What feels easy for you but hard for others? Ask yourself what you love doing. What energizes you? What would you do even if you weren't paid for it? Shift more of your time toward these strengths. Find ways to spend more time doing what you're best at and enjoy most. Delegate or reduce tasks outside your strength zone. Don't try to master everything. Focus where you shine and build support around the rest. When you focus on your natural talents, you get more done with less effort, and you feel more fulfilled along the way. Example, the executive who reclaimed her passion through was a mid-level executive doing well on paper, but she felt drained. She spent most of her time in meetings, managing budgets, and handling logistics tasks that didn't light her up. One day, she paused and reflected. What do I do exceptionally well and enjoy doing? The answer? Storytelling and team inspiration. She proposed shifting part of her role to internal communications, leading workshops and mentoring young talent. Her energy and performance skyrocketed. She didn't change careers. She simply aligned more of her time with her natural talents. That's how she began loving her work again and producing her best results. Chapter 12 reminds us, you are most effective when you do what you're uniquely meant to do. Don't waste your energy trying to be someone else. Instead, identify what you do better than most. Build your day around that strength. Go of the rest. Because your frog is easiest to eat when it's sitting in your natural habitat, and when you operate from your zone of genius. Success becomes a matter of flow, not force. Chapter 13. Your progress is being held back by just a few constraints, and once you identify and remove them, you accelerate your success. It reveals a hidden truth that limits most people. You are only as free as your weakest key constraint. Brian Tracy explains that every goal has a bottleneck. It could be a lack of time, a missing skill, unclear priorities, or external factors. The key is to stop guessing and start diagnosing. Here's how to apply this idea. Identify your goal. What outcome are you trying to achieve? List everything that could be holding you back. Look internally: habits, skills, mindset, and externally: resources, support, systems. Pinpoint the single most limiting factor. This is your constraint, the one thing that slows down everything else. Focus your energy on improving or removing that constraint. Once you solve the slowest part of the system, everything starts moving faster. It's like unclogging a pipe. The flow returns naturally. The biggest mistake people make: spending time on everything except the thing that's actually holding them back. Example, the online seller who found the real block of in ran a small e-commerce store. He had great products and strong marketing, but sales had flatlined. He kept trying new ad strategies and updated his website, but nothing changed. Then he applied the principle of Chapter 13 and asked, "What's my biggest constraint?" After talking to customers, he realized it wasn't the site or the ads, it was slow shipping times. Customers loved the products, but didn't want to wait 10 days to get them. Kevin switched to a new supplier with 2-day delivery. Within a month, sales jumped 40%. The lesson: his constraint had nothing to do with what he was focusing on. Once he identified the real issue, growth returned. Chapter 13 reminds us, your success is limited not by your potential, but by your constraints. So ask yourself, what is slowing down my biggest goal? Is it a mindset, a skill gap, or an outside factor? What can I do today to reduce or eliminate it? Focus on solving your biggest bottleneck, not doing more of what's easy, because once the block is removed, your momentum flows freely on. Eating the frog becomes easier than ever. Chapter 14. Stop waiting for external motivation, create your own. The chapter is titled, Put the Pressure on Yourself, introduces a mindset shift that separates high performers from everyone else. The world's most successful people are those who motivate themselves. Brian Tracy explains that average people Wait for deadlines, pressure from bosses, or accountability from others to take action. But successful people develop the habit of internal pressure. They create urgency on their own. Why is this powerful? Because it puts you in control. You don't need someone looking over your shoulder to get things done. You become self-directed. Here's how to apply this principle. Set your own deadlines when no one else does. Create artificial pressure to get moving. Challenge yourself with higher standards. Decide that good enough is not enough for your goals. Visualize consequences. Ask, if I don't do this now, what will I regret later? Act like you're being watched. Pretend that someone is tracking your discipline. It'll sharpen your focus. Self-imposed pressure builds resilience, raises performance, and boosts follow-through. It's how you build a mindset of excellence. Example, the freelance writer who built her own deadline was a freelance writer who struggled with inconsistency. Without strict deadlines, she often delayed articles until the last minute or missed opportunities altogether. After reading chapter 14, she created a new system. She set her own early deadlines for each writing task. She used a countdown timer to simulate urgency. She rewarded herself for hitting internal targets. Her output doubled in just 3 weeks. She didn't get a new client or coach. She became her own manager, and that made all the difference. Chapter 14 reminds us, don't wait for someone to light a fire under you. Light your own fire. Ask yourself, where am I waiting for external pressure to take action? What would happen if I raised my standards right now? When you put the pressure on yourself, you unlock your full potential, because the most reliable accountability partner in your life is you. And that's how you eat the frog without anyone needing to remind you. Chapter 15, Your Personal Energy. The chapter is titled, Maximize Your Personal Powers. It is about managing the most important resource you have. The better you care for your physical and mental health, the more productive you'll be. Brian Tracy teaches that productivity isn't just about willpower or technique. It's about energy management. That means treating your body and mind like high-performance machines. We all have natural highs and lows in our energy levels. To stay productive and avoid procrastination, you need to identify your peak energy times. Are you sharper in the morning, afternoon, or evening? Schedule your most important work during those hours. Get plenty of rest. Fatigue is one of the biggest killers of motivation. Prioritize sleep and recovery. Eat healthy, exercise, and hydrate. Fuel your body with the basics so your mind can stay focused. Take breaks. Short, regular breaks reset your brain and help you sustain performance throughout the day. When your body feels good and your mind is fresh, your willpower increases, your confidence rises, and your productivity skyrockets. Example, the burnt-out analyst who reclaimed her edge, Sandra, worked long hours at a finance firm. She survived on caffeine, skipped lunch, and averaged 5 hours of sleep. Her performance dropped, and she felt anxious all the time. After reading chapter 15, she made changes. She started sleeping 7 to 8 hours consistently. She prepped healthy meals to bring to work. She scheduled short walks every afternoon. She noticed huge differences: clearer thinking, better mood, and increased motivation. Her work improved it because she worked longer, but because she had more energy for the time she did work. Chapter 15 reminds us, your energy is your foundation. Protect and enhance it if you want to perform at your best. Ask yourself, am I sleeping, eating, and moving in ways that support my goals? When do I feel the most focused? How can I protect that time? Because when your personal powers are strong, you don't just eat the frog, you devour it with confidence and clarity. Chapter 16. Motivate yourself into action. And it's a powerful reminder that no one is coming to rescue you. You have to be your own motivator. Become your own cheerleader. Brian Tracy teaches that top performers consistently talk to themselves in a positive, encouraging way. They fuel their fire by choosing thoughts that support action, not excuses. Most people wait to feel motivated. But motivation isn't something you wait for, it's something you generate through action and mindset. Here's how to apply this principle. Control your self-talk. Use phrases like, I can do this, back to work, or I am responsible. Repetition of empowering phrases rewires your belief system. Act your way into motivation. Action precedes emotion. Start, even when you don't feel like it, motivation will follow. Feed your mind daily. Listen to podcasts, read uplifting books, and spend time around positive people. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge progress. Small victories fuel bigger steps. The more you take control of your thoughts and habits, the easier it becomes to stay in motion, and motion leads to results. Example, the student who rewrote her story Jade was a university student who often struggled with procrastination. She believed she wasn't smart enough, fast enough, or disciplined enough to get ahead. Those thoughts became her reality until she read Chapter 16. She started small, replacing "I can't do this" with "I've got this," setting a timer, and starting assignments for just 10 minutes, tracking and celebrating every study session she completed. The shift in self-talk changed her identity. Within 1 semester, her grades improved, her confidence soared, and she became someone who didn't just planche executed. Her mindset became her superpower. Chapter 16 reminds us, the way you talk to yourself determines how far you go. Ask yourself, what thoughts am I repeating to myself each day? Are they helping me act or holding me back? Start speaking to yourself like someone you believe in, because when your internal voice is strong, the frog doesn't stand a chance. You become unstoppable not because it's easy, but because you motivate yourself to take the first step. Chapter 17 of Eat That Frog addresses one of the biggest enemies of productivity in our modern world: digital distractions. The chapter is titled, "Get Out of the Technological Time Sinks," and it's a wake-up call for anyone who feels like they're always busy but rarely. Productive technology is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. Brian Tracy explains that constant connectivity, emails, texts, social media, alert scan drain your time, fracture your focus, and destroy your ability to do deep, meaningful work. Here's how to reclaim control. Turn off notifications. Stop letting every buzz and beep hijack your attention. Schedule tech-free blocks of time. Create distraction-free windows where you can focus fully on your frogs. Check messages and emails in batches. Don't respond instantly. Respond intentionally. Use tools that block distractions. Apps like Focus at Will or Freedom can help you stay on track. The goal is not to eliminate technology, but to use it on your terms, not the other way around, because deep work requires deep focus, and that doesn't happen in a state of constant interruption. Example, the manager who took back her time, Angela, managed a remote team and spent her day ping-ponging between Slack messages, email threads, and Zoom meetings. She was exhausted, but her task list never got shorter. After reading Chapter 17, she made a few key changes. She turned off notifications. During deep work hours, she checked emails only 3 times per day. She blocked 2 hours each morning. 4. Uninterrupted focus. In just 1 week, her stress dropped and she finally finished a project that had been lingering for months. Technology didn't slow her down. Her relationship to it did. Chapter 17 reminds us, you can't do your best work while distracted. Ask yourself, what apps or tools are stealing my focus? What boundaries can I create to protect my time? Technology should amplify your productivity, not compete with it, so take back control, silence the noise, and create the space you need. Eat the frog with full attention. Chapter 18, Slice and Dice the Task, presents a brilliant strategy to overcome overwhelm. Break big tasks into smaller pieces. The chapter is titled, Slice and Dice the Task, and it's a productivity technique that helps you start when things feel too big or too complex. Any task seems less intimidating once you break it down into bite-sized pieces. Brian Tracy emphasizes that the size of the task isn't the real problem, it's the lack of clarity about where to start. Big frogs feel scary because they're vague. Once you slice them down into smaller bites, resistance drops and progress begins. Here's how to slice and dice effectively. Use the salami slice method. Like slicing a sausage, break the task into thin, easy-to-handle slices. Do one small part at a time. Punch holes into the task by spending just 5 or 10 minutes working on it. The goal isn't completion, it's momentum. Write out all subtasks, turn one large project into a checklist of smaller, clear action steps. Focus on one step at a time. This principle gives you mental relief. Instead of staring at a mountain, You start walking one step at a time with clarity and confidence. Example: the entrepreneur who conquered her product launch, Michelle, was building a new online course, but every time she sat down to work on it, she froze. The task felt massive. Write the lessons, record videos, create slides, build the website, run ads. It was too much. After reading Chapter 18, she applied the slice and dice technique. She broke her launch into 20 micro-steps. Each day, she focused on just one tiny slice. Write an outline, film one lesson, draft one email in 30 days. Her entire course was built and launched without overwhelm. Big things got done by taking tiny, consistent actions. Chapter 18 reminds us, small, stay consistent, and keep moving forward. So if a task feels too big, slice it into steps. Do one slice at a time. Let progress build momentum, because when you break your frog into pieces, you stop overthinking and start executing. And that's how big goals get done. One small bite at a time. Chapter 19, Create Large Chunks of Time, is about one of the most powerful productivity habits you can build: time blocking for deep work. The chapter is titled Create Large Chunks of Time, and it explains why real progress happens when you carve out focused, uninterrupted time. The key to high levels of performance and productivity is to work in large, uninterrupted blocks of time. Brian Tracy highlights a major truth: multitasking, constant interruptions, and scattered schedules destroy your ability to make real progress on your most important tasks, your frogs. Here's how to apply this principle. Time block your calendar. Schedule 60 to 90-minute chunks dedicated to your biggest, most valuable task of the day. Protect this time like it's sacred. No phone, no email, no meetings. Let people know this time is off limits. Use your energy peaks. Place your deep work blocks during your most alert and focused times of day. Work on only one thing. Single task during this window. No tab switching or multitasking. Creating large chunks of time helps you enter a state of flow, where your brain works faster, better, and more creatively. Example: the CEO who got her weekends back, Donna, was the CEO of a fast-growing company, but felt constantly behind. Her days were packed with meetings and emails, and her real work only happened at night or on weekends. After reading Chapter 19, she restructured her calendar. She blocked off 9:11 a.m. every weekday as her deep work time. She declined meetings and delegated more small tasks. She focused those hours only on strategy, writing, and decision-making. Within a month, she found herself completing more in a 2-hour block than she used to get done in a full day, and she got her evenings and weekends back. Chapter 19 reminds us, if it's important, it deserves your full attention without distractions. So protect your time. Block it, guard, IDUs, it wisely beckons. When you work in large, focused chunks of time, your productivity skyrockets, and your frogs get eaten faster, easier, and with fewer leftovers. Chapter 20, Develop a Sense of Urgency, unlocks the secret to powerful momentum. Creating a sense of urgency. It's not about rushing, it's about moving with focused intensity. The chapter is titled Develop a Sense of Urgency, and it explains why acting quickly is one of the habits that separates top performers from the rest. Do it now. A sense of urgency is the key to getting things done quickly and well. Brian Tracy says successful people are action-oriented. They don't wait for motivation or perfect conditions. They get started and build momentum through movement. Here's how to apply this principle. Repeat the mantra, do it now. Train your mind to take immediate action. Act quickly on key tasks. Speed builds confidence. Don't overthink execute. Eliminate hesitation. The longer you delay, the more resistance builds. Take the first step right away. Move with energy and focus. Be known as someone who takes action, not someone who waits. Urgency doesn't mean rushing blindly. It means choosing speed over perfection and building a rhythm of progress. Example: the consultant who beat the clock was a consultant with a habit of He'd spend days perfecting a presentation, tweaking slides, and analyzing data until deadlines loomed. After reading Chapter 20, he changed his approach. He gave himself mini deadlines with timers. He prioritized speed of execution over flawless polish. He aimed to ship fast, improve later. To his surprise, his clients were impressed not by perfection, but by how quickly he delivered value. He became known as someone who got things done fast and well. Chapter 20 reminds us, speed is a competitive advantage. Urgency turns goals into results. Ask yourself, where am I moving too slowly? What can I act on today without waiting? Repeat, do it now. Because urgency fuels progress, and progress fuels success. And the faster you start, the faster you finish that frog. Chapter 21. Single-handle every task. We've reached the final chapter of Eat That Frog. And Brian Tracy closes with a high-performance habit that multiplies your productivity. Handle every task once you begin. Refuse to stop until the job is finished. In this chapter, Tracy emphasizes the power of focus, discipline, and follow-through. He explains that the fastest and most efficient way to get something done is to do it from start to finish without switching, checking, or stopping. Multitasking breaks momentum. Every time you pause or shift focus, your brain loses steam and requires energy to restart. But when you single-handle a task, you enter a state of flow where your best work happens. Here's how to apply this principle. Choose your most important task, the frog. Know exactly what you're committing to. Eliminate all distractions. Silence notifications. Clear your desk and close all unrelated tabs. Start and don't stop. Make a rule: once you start, you're not allowed to do anything else until it's done. Work with intensity. Act like this is the only task that matters, because right now, it is. The feeling of finishing something big in one focused sprint is one of the best productivity boosts you'll ever experience. Example: the developer who killed procrastination with Flowathon was a freelance web developer who constantly struggled with half-finished projects. He'd jump between client tasks, messages, and code tweaks, never really completing anything after reading Chapter 21. He made one simple change. He picked the most important task every morning. He worked on it for 90 minutes, uninterrupted, no emails, no Slack, no checking phone, within a week. Ethan finished 3 full client websites, something that normally took him a month. His clients were thrilled, and his confidence soared. Single-handling became his productivity superpower. Chapter 21 reminds us, finish what you start. Momentum lives in completion. So choose your task, clear your space, and commit. Because when you focus deeply and finish fully, you not only get more do, build the mindset of a high performer. And that's how you eat the frog, one full, focused bite at a time.